There we go. We're live.
Got it. Oh, so we gotta go. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for.
Well, you make a good vice president. All
Thank you,
right. Hey, listen to this. Listen to this. Call the meeting to order at 6:05 PM. You got your visitors list, Cindy?
Yes, doing the list right
Okay.
now. Thank you.
Let's see, approval of agenda. Short and sweet. I will entertain a motion.
Addison County makes the motion to approve the agenda.
Of course you do.
Brand, I will second the motion.
Any additions or corrections to the agenda? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Secretary's report. Should have been in your board packet.
I'll make a motion, Addison County. For a secretary's report.
And a second.
Brand, I will second.
Awesome. You guys are doing excellent tonight.
Thank you. No one usually ever sees me on the phone, so I feel privileged
You
tonight.
ought to feel privileged. Now people can put a face with a phone number.
You'll regret that.
Yes, they will.
Any additions, corrections to the secretary's report? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Patty, you're up.
Okay, so I sent this to Manchester for put it in a minute, but I did a chart doing membership, so we can see a comparison over the last 3 years of where we are month season to date. But in membership, this monthly activity we brought in, and again, my numbers are through November, so they do not include the NAD dash in December. 360K, the season so far was 443K. So we're at 16% on the membership expectation. And that more or less aligns with 2020. 2020, we were at 19%, and there was only a difference of 26K. Last year, though, we were at 627K at this time. So there's a bigger delta between last year and this year, but more in line with the year before overall membership. So it wasn't as bad, and we did come out ahead in 2020. So income, monthly activity of 398, of which 360 of its membership. So the majority of it's coming from there. And the season so far is 504. Okay, so we're at 15% of expected income. Again, 2020 was 17%. So we're really more in line with 2020. Last year we were at 21% because we were ahead of the game mostly in membership. And then expenses, monthly activity was 94K. The season so far was 209K. In the last 3 years, we were at 7% of our budget and expenses every single year at this time. So we're right on par. So expenses are lined up just as they have for the last couple of years. And the 94K, represents some of the bigger numbers, 14K in online CMA fees. There was the almost 2,000 in membership forms and decal, and some trade show expenses. 8,500 in trail signage. So you guys have the report for all the other stuff if you want it, but those were the big line items. That's it.
Any questions for Patty?
What do we attribute the drop in memberships to? Is it something to do with COVID or?
I'm gonna, yes, I mean, this is just the crystal ball, right? So
Yeah.
in 2020, we're lining up, right? And that was the
Yeah.
height of COVID. So I wouldn't, I think it was we had a warm fall, like almost in early season.
Yeah.
I know Cindy's gonna cover where we are now, which the December rush. So hopefully we can close the gap there. Now, obviously I'll have a full report on that next time we meet, but I'm just gonna guess because it was so warm. People weren't thinking about it.
Well,
But that's a crystal ball
I
guess.
think
That's not a-
inflation helped it all.
Yeah.
Well, the registrations are, so, right, registrations are pretty solid overall.
What I found odd though is we're 78% off of our income expectations. But if you look at the TNA that's sold, we're only 36% off on that. And we're only 1,000 off for last year over this year for a sledge registered. Where are they going?
when they probably waited till November. These numbers are only through November,
Right.
so.
I think a lot of it is because people register their sleds starting in August. Right, and then they don't start buying their TMAs until October, November, and I do believe it's because it has been warm out. I think the economy definitely will play a role in it too. But if you think back to last year and the year before, we had a lot of early snow, even though it didn't last last year in October and November. This year, we didn't have that until basically the day that early bird season ended. You know, so I think that that's part of it too. But we're still, about to launch into the TMA report. I mean, we're about 1,900 off from last year.
Matt,
I just wanted to comment, I'm sorry, I just had to look at the date. Some of our revenue is gonna be off because we did not receive our RTP grooming grant until December 6th. That day,
That's a
so
big one.
that is a big one, that's like $200,000.
That would be some of your percentage.
Yeah, so that's a lot of your percentage. I was just gonna think, I don't think we got that till December and we didn't, so. That's,
So I think once we get through the December numbers, you're gonna see things look a little healthier.
any more questions for Patty? I will entertain a motion.
Somebody else.
Washington County.
And a second.
Warren is second.
I heard Rutland first.
Oh, damn it. I tried.
You'll let the new guy introduce something. Only because he was sitting by my good ear, so.
You like good here?
Let's see, no table items.
what do you want to do that?
No old business.
Nope, there is, but this isn't written down. I'm just curious what's going on with the Manchester Club.
So because we had to because the board changed the policy, we have to basically restart them from the beginning of warning them that they have been picked for an audit
Oh, we did
and
that
give them
last
time
month.
to reply and everything to that.
How long are we giving them to reply back?
Well, I don't believe that there's really, I'd have to look at policy. I don't remember off the top of my head. Mark, do you remember what the policy said?
I don't think there was a time frame set.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because we ran into a lot of problems when we first set a time limit, but we usually say like you have a year basically to get your stuff done. From the time that you receive the letter, not from the time you were picked, because remember, we picked 4 other clubs, and now we've actually had another club volunteer that wants to go through the process. And we didn't do it. I didn't send those letters out because we were, you guys were going to make policy changes. And so because we did that with Green Mountain Trailblazers, so there's actually going to be 6 clubs, and once they receive the letter, they have a year to get their stuff done.
The letters haven't been sent out to the other clubs then.
No, not yet. In fact, I was going to do it last week and then just caught up with TMA. So everything will happen this week, but we were basically waiting for the policy to change, which you guys did at the November meeting.
Okay, just curious.
But I'm gonna make a wild guess and thinking that the Manchester Club is probably still not gonna want to do it, so.
I would absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, that's what-
Who knows until you do it.
Yeah, so we basically set the clock back to 0 and start over under the new policy.
Mhm.
I work,
So is there any enforcement that happens with that, or does the whole process have to go through first? As far as like suspending grooming payments or the TMA?
my gut reaction is that we basically set their clock to 0, so they've got the year to decide whether or not they want to do it.
Yeah.
And
And it's because we didn't have a policy in place at the
Right.
time when.
Yeah.
when we-
But everything would stay as it was, say, last year and the year before.
Yeah, but it'll be a year when we
Until-
decided on that. It'll be a year before next year's release of
Yeah.
right,
early
Yeah.
payment.
We released everything we were holding. I just need to send that. I just need to
Next year.
So we can-
send the letter.
yeah.
So
Well,
all the
so-
notices
so-
will go through.
If they decide to not,
Next year, they don't
through.
get anything.
we can start with holding next year.
I just wanted to add something. and I-
Sure.
I should have added it as an agenda item, I guess. I don't know how many of you guys saw coming in the bench that we had in Tim's honor made up,
up next to the vast sign. When you leave tonight, please take a look. I believe, Cindy, in the spring, there's going to be a formal dedication. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, Mark, when it warms up, we'll do, we'll,
Dug it out of the snow. It's a really nice granite bench that we had built in Tim's honor and set a few weeks ago. So if you get a chance tonight when you're leaving, it's as you're looking at the building and the sign, it's to the right. So,
and the way that it's positioned is it faces where our vast trail is, and it also faces the sunset.
so
Good.
Now I need a fire pit.
So,
and say hello to you guys talking. Like Angels here at our meeting. So
Yeah.
that's all I have.
That's all for old business, guys?
Yep. Cindy, TMA report.
Yeah, so we're at 16,776 TMAs, and I'm going to be sending you guys all the reports, so you'll have that in your email, all the graphs, including all the breakouts with the clubs and counties and stuff. But 16,776 versus last year at 18,693. That's a difference of 1,917 right now. And again, I'm really attributing that to, I mean, it could be some of it the economy, but I also think it's because it was so warm until recently. In the last 2 years, we had quite a bit of snow before December 15th. We sold so many TMAs last week. It was crazy in here. You know, people really waited till the last minute. So.
In the early snowstorm that we had, they've actually had 2, almost 3 coming up pretty soon.
They're frozen.
Snowstorms south of us.
Everybody's
So a lot of the people that would come up here to ride and get, jonesing for it are actually riding back in Massachusetts in that area now,
Yeah.
Which a lot of those guys are TMA holders. I know they are. So they're having a really good start to their season. I think some good storms could change it around quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've always said that we have a base of 16,000.
Louis.
Well, plus, with people waiting, now they have to pay regular price, it actually puts more money into the vast treasury.
Does.
Treasury.
Yeah, so so that's
Another $40 per TMA.
Yeah,
$5.
times $2,000. So that'll be some decent money if it converts. Anything else on the TMAs?
Yeah,
Well-
one question, Jeff. Cindy, Mike Garber. Can you get the numbers from New York, New Hampshire, and Maine? And if you don't have them now, can you at least have end of season numbers to see if they're taking our customer base or if they're going through the same 20% cut that we're possibly going through?
Sure, I can find out. I mean, the end of the season numbers aren't going to help much because we already know that New Hampshire's double us and Maine is quadruple us and New York, but I could get the up-to-date number so we can see if the trend is real. Sure.
I need to know if they're also trending down like we are. So last year's numbers compared to this year's numbers, right? I'm not worried about their overall totals.
Right. Sure. Be happy to.
Last year's numbers were a little bit higher than our average. Our early bird average is right around 16.5, right, Cindy?
Yes, Pat, yes. That's
So
why I
we're-
say the last 2 years, because we had a lot of early snow, it's kind of hard to, but yeah, I can definitely do that.
You can ask those same questions of those other states of if they had bumps last year, early birds, as compared to a normal season. We need to know how we compare to those other states.
When I looked at the 2020 numbers and just figuring $100 a TMA, because I remember mine is only dollars, mine is not actual TMAs. Mine does not include the county club dues stuff. At $100, I just rounded it. That's only 262 TMAs difference this time of year than we were 2 years ago. Not a big number. It's just last year seems to be a big delta.
Yeah.
That's why. But if you look at it from 2 years ago to now, 262 TMAs is not a scary thought.
Yeah.
We're broke.
And we had early snow last year too. So.
Everybody's waiting, ready to get out and do something too.
Trails, outdoor recreation, economic impact study, Cindy.
So we have, we've been putting money aside every year for an economic impact study that we haven't done yet. Don't know if you're interested, or if you're interested in maybe having other trail organizations and do an overall recreational trail economic impact study for the state to include different usages. Maybe they would pitch in to help and get matching grants and stuff like that. But just wanted to sort of bring it to your attention to think about, not looking for a motion, just that money is there in reserves.
When was the last one we did, Cindy?
2000, 2001.
I think it behooves us to stay singular on it, my personal opinion, just because I think it's hard to match our numbers to, say, Bassa or the mountain bike people, or, I mean, we have such a secluded, winter time, much larger area. I think it would behoove us to keep it separate just for our purposes, for grants.
I think it behooves us not to do a new one right now because no one's asking for it.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid of what it might actually show.
So when we're applying for the state money and stuff like that or anything else, do they want, they never asked for?
You haven't had anyone ask you for a recent economic impact, right?
Never. Even the governor quotes the last one.
Yeah,
And while I'm usually all for having up-to-date data, I'm afraid of what this is gonna show. I mean, we all know in 2001, there were 45,000 members,
right.
which
Exactly.
was almost halved immediately when we had the insurance requirement. Back on the rising expenses, the intermittent snow at times. I'm afraid that, we've shrunk our economic impact. And I don't necessarily want to be trumpeting that.
Yeah, honestly, it was just a topic to put on the agenda. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. I just was like, the agenda's kind of light, something we haven't talked about in a while, just something to think about. And I know we have other things to talk about, but it is just something that money is there. Pat and I have talked about it over the years as well. And other groups are interested in doing one. So I just thought I'd bring it to your attention.
How much, did you say how much money was in there, Cindy? I didn't hear you say that.
70,000.
Do we add to it every year?
Yes,
Is it always the same amount every year we add?
we had about 10,000 every year. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
What was the last quote we got for someone doing it? Wasn't it quite a bit?
Yeah, it was pretty expensive.
Yeah, it was like,
Was it
Oh.
like 85,000?
it was.
Yeah, it's gonna cost anywhere from 80 to 100,000 to do it.
Thanks.
Maine did one 4 years ago now, 3 years ago. And theirs was $90,000.
Yeah.
Why can't we just use theirs?
We'll just cut
It
it.
actually
State's a state.
isn't bad. I mean, it kind of correlates somewhat, but obviously Maine has got twice
Yeah.
actually, they've got almost 4 times the membership we do. But, yeah, but actually, Mark, that's a good point that we may not like the numbers that we get.
Yeah, well, I agree with that.
Um,
Got a recession coming, price is gonna go down.
Well, not necessarily. Sometimes in a recession, prices go up.
Yeah, or they'll just stay inflated like they are.
It's gonna be a couple of years before things start coming down.
I'd like to point out that we did not inflate this year. We stayed.
We did not, we stayed the same, yes. Trails Administrator Report, ED report, LVRT report. Any questions? Additions? Anything you want to address, Matt?
No.
Yeah, tell people how to do their GPS systems.
Any questions for Ken on the LVRT?
It's a comment on the LVRT. I hadn't seen many four-wheelers, but a lot of deer hunters and vehicular traffic on it. Been run off of a couple times on a bicycle.
Huh.
Come down and hang out, big time. At least Fairfield also.
Fairfield's full of outlets anyway.
Careful your live stream.
But I think more people.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
So with the LVRT, we still have, at least in Jeff, we still have a few sections where the ADA crossings aren't complete. Do we know what's going on with that? I was told that I guess they're gonna do them out of precast and come and set them later. But they just left us holes in the ground at the road crossings, at a few road crossings, and we haven't heard anything from anybody on those.
is that something you can address, Ken?
He's trying to take himself off mute.
Trying to unmute myself. Unfortunately, no, we get very few details. They've been telling me over and over again that everything will be ready by the 15th. Obviously, that's not true. So that specific question I could ask, Dustin, if you would email me, especially if you know the specific spots or how many there are, I can try to get that question to the people who know the answer. If you've been in touch at all with the construction crew, Dirt Tech, if you have a connection with Dirt Tech,
Yeah,
asking them directly is the best line of information, because I have to go through VTrans and they ask each other questions before they'll answer anything, and it's not always accurate that what I get back.
okay, yeah, we do have a contact with Dirt Tech, but it's just one of their guys. So I was just trying to see if you knew anything more than what we're getting from one of the employees with Dirt Tech.
No, and then the next person to maybe get in touch with would be Bill Gray, because he's out in the field for VTrans, or Jeff Coda. If you
Okay.
have details on whether you can live with it as it is for the season or what, then that would be helpful too.
Okay, I will get some info together and I'll send you an email.
All right.
Thank you.
Otherwise, I guess while we're on the subject, in Wolcott, there's a bridge they're still working on and a big washout. So the connection from Wolcott to Hardwick probably won't be open for quite a while yet. They've been saying February 1st. Otherwise, the bridge in Hardwick is supposed to be open by now. It's not quite there, but hopefully that will be open soon. And otherwise, we're pretty well connected.
Ken, my understanding is that part of the LVRT probably isn't gonna be open at all this year.
Their publications, it was.
Yeah, the state sent out a construction update saying February 1st last week.
I stopped by Walcott, they're pretty far along on that bridge, it won't take them long once they get there and get going. They've done the bridge, they just got the footing on the downhill side of it. But anyway, there's a lot of equipment there, so. Anyway, that's what they're saying, I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
What they're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Dustin said, we know people that are working on those sites, so that's where we're getting our information. And it's because we're not getting any information, and that's not your fault, Ken. We're aware of the situation, but it's just hard when we're getting asked questions and we're like, we don't know.
Yeah.
But they're like, well, the publication or Facebook post said this, and
So you're talking the section from Wolcott to Hardwick,
yeah,
Carmen?
but that's.
Channel 3 News said February the other night.
Yeah, because that's what the state sent out as an update.
It's on the internet, so it must be true.
Yeah.
So, Bonnie?
I was gonna ask Mark, did you want to, because I asked the question, because I didn't know when it came up at our county meeting, the insurance form that people have to sign, do you want to explain that? So.
Well, that was gonna be as part of my update.
When you get down to this.
Next one.
Okay.
That's next on the list.
You're jumping ahead.
Who's jumping the gun?
Yeah, he's jumping ahead.
Anything else for Ken,
I just know
Matt,
I asked.
or Cindy?
Matt, how many grooming contracts are still outstanding?
Well,
Good question.
we'll set in the packet.
Set the chocolate chip cookies down.
Yeah.
Big 65, right?
there were a bunch in the packet, but I would assume somebody is working on getting theirs done.
You would hope. He's thinking.
I'm looking, you know what I got here.
One last, because I found,
Yeah, you're good, yeah.
Carmen, I just forwarded you the email we got from the state.
I'd say about 8 to 10 of those are still not in yet.
Okay.
Any from Lamoille County?
No, I think you're all set.
Do we know when the next trails meeting is gonna be?
Probably gonna be in January.
Matt. Report says they keep having trouble, had trouble last year and then this year too, they're not getting the contract sent to them. And the email, have you heard from them at all? He said he's talked to Beth and maybe Mandy or Cindy, I'm not sure on it. So can you double check
Again,
tomorrow on it, make sure that Fran Welch is the one that has the email comes to him. Well, he's just making sure that for now on, the right address is being, he said he updated it. That's the first question I asked him, to be sending a new update of this year of the officers and stuff, and he said yes, and he was getting it, so.
thanks for checking. Yeah, I haven't heard anything from them.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's been.
That is a, that is-
Report, snowbirds. Is that right?
that is a good reminder to make sure your clubs, next time you have a county meeting, make sure your clubs have updated their officer list with the office here. So everybody's getting the right emails in the right places.
Can I add to that, Jeff?
Absolutely, Beth.
We very, very highly suggest that clubs have a single club email where all officers can access all emails sent from VAST. With changing officers and changing systems, you know, to get an email, you know, 1 year and then another year and 2 weeks later to change. It's difficult when there is, you know, somebody who's the president gets the grooming contract in one club, but the trail master gets the grooming contract in another club. We just think it would help for transparency for clubs if all officers were to receive all the information. And that, you know, if you have a change in officers, to perhaps change the password if you have any security issues. But, you know, this way we can try and make sure that we have a single point of contact for grooming contracts, TMA reports, etc. And
So-
in that way, it's not changing in, you know, 20 different places 5 times a year.
Yeah,
So just
absolutely.
a suggestion.
Well, that would be like xyzclub@gmail.com.
Well, that's the problem is some of them
Correct.
personal, like for our club, because Beth, you're addressing me calling a couple weeks ago about that too. So right now it's going to one person in our club, which is a secretary treasurer. And back when I was president, up to last year, up to this year, I would get that email also. But now Todd doesn't get it. So you're saying Todd needs to check in with our treasurer because it's her personal email to check on the
What,
things.
yeah, what
Right.
Beth has suggested,
Yeah.
what Beth is suggesting is that a club should establish
A
a
club
club
email.
email. And
That-
everything goes to that email. But multiple people can have access to that email.
So they need to get it one set.
Yes.
They both can go in and
Yes.
not use
That was-
personal emails.
That was my suggestion.
Okay, good.
xyzclub@gmail.com.
That makes sense. Okay,
You know,
I'll be meeting with them tomorrow, so I'll be
Yeah.
telling them that. Beth, did you talk to Fran today from Bridport? Swimming contract?
I believe I saw an email about that. Yeah, but I don't want to step on toes and send that out. No.
Okay. Cause I know he's waiting to hear back today, so I talked to him this morning.
Matt's working on it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, so the clubs that have listed here, if they still have not turned it in, they didn't get their startup, right? They didn't sign it. Okay.
Correct, yep.
All right, let's slide down to committee reports. American Outdoor Risk Retention Group, Mr. Reeves.
That's me. So clubs, presidents recently received a shareholder agreement to sign. I don't know who on the board remembers, but as part of our licensing with the state, they wanted a larger shareholder base. So we decided that we would make each one of the clubs a Class B shareholder in the RRG, and vast budgeted money to pay the capital startup fee. But each club has to sign the agreement. Our management company sent out everything electronically. It's a DocuSign. You can print it off and sign it by hand and return it if you want. We suggest you do it via DocuSign. There were questions, so I wrote up a piece and we sent out a vast blast earlier this week, or late last week, I would say, for people answering any questions, giving them contact information if they have any questions about it. I haven't heard anything. I mean, granted, it was a weekend with a lot of snow, so people were shoveling and snow blowing and riding and doing other things. But I haven't heard anything yet. But if you have any questions, refer them to me. I'll be happy to answer them, but that's what it is. The state wanted a wider shareholder ownership base than just vast, just one shareholder. So we brought in each individual club. Doesn't change your premium, doesn't mean clubs have to pay more or less. It just signifies that you are an official owner of this insurance company. I go back to my explanation of what an RRG is. It's like a credit union for insurance. So just like when you deposit money into a credit union account, you become an owner. It's often called shares when you put it into the credit union account. This is the same thing. As insureds, you are owners of the insurance company, and that's your share, and that's your shareholder agreement.
So that was sent also to the club email.
Yes, the email we had listed, so.
So I just checked the email. I don't have anything.
For what I just forwarded you?
Well, I didn't get that, and I didn't get this
Because it bounced
AO.
back. Are you president of a club?
No.
That's why.
Went to the president.
Went to the club presidents, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
club president.
I saw clubs went to the club email, the generic XYZ.
I believe, yeah, that's who the vast blast went to, right, Kath?
I didn't see a vast blast.
I didn't get one.
I got one marked. It was easy to do. We went to the president. So
I got the DocuSign from the club in the general email box. The club email, where everything goes into, not to the president, but.
So it went
but
to,
I did
it went
not
to
see
the
a
club
vast blast.
contacts that we have
He
on.
doesn't check that email, so I'll have to go.
So
check
I'm
it.
I'm not the club president.
No.
That's why.
Right. And same
Secretary.
with me. I'm not a club president either, so I didn't get one of those. I know that our club president did. But we have a general email box that he would check. And I'm not sure who, Beth, can you tell me who was on the list that got sent the DocuSign stuff?
The vast blast is just constant contact, and you can limit.
Right.
So
So what,
Sorry.
like the-
What was that?
that wasn't a full blast.
The mail list for the AAORG DocuSign stuff, that was club presidents, right?
Yes. Or what?
The vast
what we
blast.
have on File.
Yep, and then the vast blast, the same thing, right?
Like you mean the one that I recently sent
Yes,
with your note? Yes.
that's what I thought, yep. So if you're not a club president or a club contact, you didn't get it. It was only those people who received the documents to explain what was going on.
No,
Does
that helps me.
okay,
He's just
and-
not very good about checking that email. so
and the
it's not
email
like
that I got bounced back, so I didn't have your right email, the one that I just forwarded you. Sorry, not your fault. I have it wrong. And that's it for the AORG.
Northeast chapter in USA. I know both Pat and I missed the USA meeting last week because it was Tuesday, not Wednesday. And we haven't done anything Northeast chapter related. We are headed to Maine in February. Maine is hosting the spring ride and meeting. Nothing I'm aware of earth shattering that's going on, Pat. Anything that you know of?
No, there was some testimony on something out west, but I don't remember what it was even. Matt might remember because he was on the distribution for that.
Was that the waivers for Buy America and the
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Oba.
yeah. A lot of discussion about that. I don't know what's actually been, I don't think anything's been decided on that.
I don't know that anything has been decided. I know it was a fairly short window for comment
Yes.
once it came around. But we'll keep tabs on that through the various organizations.
Doesn't really affect us too much since all of our RTP funds go to grooming.
Right. Snow Trails Conservancy, Jim.
Yes, so you had the Proctor property, we're gonna end up, we need to get a title search done and information to finish filling out the easement, and then it goes back to the town and they're gonna have to warn it for 30 days. It looks like it's moving forward. And tomorrow we also have a conference call with a group from Tug Hill, New York that are interested in our easement process.
Written out there many times, good writing.
That's it.
Thanks, Jim. Let's see, law enforcement. Anything, Cindy?
Nope, communicated with law enforcement last week or over the weekend, actually. Just making sure that they're aware of the trainings that are coming up that are being performed by the wardens. That to use the calendar that we have for them to show where they're going to be. So make sure that we've got good coverage. We don't have so many in one area or not enough in other areas. And they've been getting their safety inspection stickers and booklets. And yeah, that's about it. I'm still waiting for contracts for 2 sheriffs because we've had 2 sheriffs that did not make the elections. So that's Franklin County and Orange County. Although they don't leave their positions until February 2nd or February 1st or 2nd, I can't remember which it is. And so I don't know why they just don't want to respond because they're not going to be in the job much longer. I'm not really sure, but still trying to get contracts from them. But in the meantime, we have state police and fish and wildlife that are statewide.
Yeah. Awards and nominating, Patty.
I'm just gonna start reminding you guys, scholarship applications are due March 1st. And award nominations by May 1st, but you can put them in any time, so you don't have to wait. So if somebody's done a great project or somebody's an outstanding groomer or whatever, you don't have to wait till the deadline to send it in. It's fresh in your mind. If something comes up, just submit the nomination. But May 1st is the deadline. That's it.
Thank you. Bylaws, Mark.
We haven't met since we did the rewrite of the policy. I'm not sure when we'll meet again. Cindy, we don't have anything pressing at this point, and it's starting to be the busy time of year, so it'll probably be more towards spring when we start meeting again.
Sounds good. Thank you. Annual meeting, Mr. Halpin.
And not a lot of movement on it. I did send out a verification to the vendors that I've talked to, the large vendors, on the location now because we've decided on location at Kenyon's over in Waitsfield. And I will do some more of that. And we did let the county know to reach out to all their members and their clubs to let them know that we will be looking for volunteerism quite a bit. We've decided on a lot of things. I think we've already spoken about using the food vendors from the Essex this past season, Essex County. And doing a lot of the things the same way. We do have a tent down there that I'm hoping will help a little bit as far as cost goes, because the Kenyans have donated the big tent that they set up every summer. So I'll have to get some sizes on that and talk to Cindy and see what she thinks about what we rented last year in comparison and what we'll need on size wise and stuff. But at this time of year, here we've got the ball bouncing. It's just, I think, enough to head in that direction, but not a lot is being decided on other than that. So if there's anybody that wants to bring it back to their counties and talk to them about possible, all the clubs are welcome to set up vendor tents or vendor tables and be a part of it. We're trying to increase the vendors that were available. Essex had a few. We're trying to get some snowmobiles on site and working towards that. And that's about it, really.
Was it the Saturday after Labor Day?
Then what is it?
Ninth.
Ninth.
It was the ninth. And Kenyans have always been huge bass supporters and members and stuff. And we went back and forth about whether to use Fars Field, which has been successful in the past and this is easy access. And we decided that it's not that far off the 89 corridor, and it's right on Route 100. And they were excited about the possibility of hosting it, so we decided to go with some longtime members and
Just a little different. I mean,
Yeah, just a
we've
little bit.
used Fires Field and I'm sure we will use Fires Field again in the future. But this gives the Kenyans an opportunity to host it and they're excited about it. And I know our club is excited about it, the Ridge Runners. And I think the Washington County clubs are excited about it. So there's not gonna be a lot of differences, I don't think, other than location, and there's gonna be more work as it gets closer, obviously. But at this point, I think the invites are sent out to the major vendors. I will keep in touch with all of them to make sure we're tied down. And so about all you can do is reach out to the different counties and let everybody know that they're more than welcome to come down and do club raffles or set up their own tables and sell T-shirts or whatever they'd like to do.
They always hosted the Rock Maple Snow Cross there too.
Yep.
I see the race over there.
I do know that tent size, I want to say we were like 30 by 90 or 30 by 100 for Chittenden County for the main big tent.
I think we have that covered. I'll talk to the Kenyans and get some specifics.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what Essex had last year up there. I know it was a large tent. I just wasn't sure the size of it.
Yeah.
I did go, the Kenyans had an event down there for their son that had passed last year. A celebration of life, and I went down there and we were all under the tent and it's quite large. I just don't know size wise in comparison.
Good.
Justin has his hand up on the screen.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's still.
Go ahead, Dustin. Sorry.
I don't think that is, I think that's.
I don't think I have my hand up, but I
Oh,
did have a
that's-
question for Mark.
Oh.
Sure, all right,
Yeah, that's.
maybe I have an answer.
And maybe it was answered somewhere and I just didn't catch it, but on that RRG, on the annual fee.
Yep.
Has Vast budgeted to pay that annual fee every year in the future for the clubs?
No, it's not an annual fee, it's a one-time, you basically bought a share in the company.
Okay, so it's just the one-time fee and
One time,
Vast
yeah.
budgeted to pay that one-time fee for everybody. Okay, thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's my fault. I thought it was an annual fee and it's not. It was just the startup.
Okay. And if I have my hand up, I'm sorry, and I don't know how to take it
No,
down.
it's the cursor
No,
here.
it's actually where the cursor's sitting on the laptop.
Okay,
Actually, Matt did get a little information on your ADA crossings. Supposed to be wrapped up this week, Matt. So,
Yes. Got 3 left before last week. two at the crossing of 108 and one on the south end of 109.
Yep.
They've done this week.
Okay, so they'll have to dig some snow back out of them, but okay.
Nah, they'll just plop them right off the snowbank.
I'm sure they'll have to come back in the spring after the frost is out anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Alright, so
Matt.
Just pack them with snow and go. They weren't that deep.
Nothing
Moving
for
right
the
along.
executive committee. Anything more on the financial body? Thank you. Long-range planning and organization, Mr. Reeves.
Right now, we're sort of,
In a holding pattern?
in a holding pattern, yeah,
Flat line.
not quite flat.
On hold.
Uh,
Been there.
Not quite on life support, but almost. Resource committee is on hiatus. Personnel, Julianne.
Nothing further this time.
Trails, Brian Courier. Matt.
There's nothing to report there. We were talking about having a meeting this month, but with everyone being busy on the trails and with this meeting being moved back a little earlier, it was just a real time crunch, and I talked with Brian and we're like, let's just do something in January.
Okay.
When it's not so crazy. We're trying to cram it in and just, yeah.
So have you set a date?
Try to get back to that typical third Monday.
Yes, yes. That's what it would be, the third Monday.
I don't think there's anything pressing. That was the other factor, really.
There really wasn't. We actually talked about even trying to do like a ride somewhere on in January and then having a meeting after or something in the evening, or I don't know. I mean, who can make it or whatnot, but that was the discussion we had briefly a couple weeks ago. So,
And change it to a Saturday or something.
yeah, we can do that, yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Fridays are good because then I get to take the day off.
Safety. Stan, are you with us?
No.
Stan is not here. Sorry, Doug, go ahead.
Stan won't be here, no.
Okay.
You want to cover it, Cindy?
Sure, the military ride, Military Appreciation Day and Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is still planned for January 21st. A lot's been done. We've gotten pretty far with it. Again, it's in Morrisville at Oxbow Park. We'll be designing a poster this week for it to send out on social media and things like that, but everything's going well. Joan's brother passed away yesterday. So that's why he's not here. And Doug and I both knew. Stan sent us an email.
Cindy, can you send me like an updated email or something about the military ride-in?
Sure. What are you looking for? Just like times and specifics like that?
An update before I go into county would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think back. I thought I had the times and everything on the last email. I don't know that things have changed, but yes, I will review it, Carmen, and then and send it along to you and update it if it needs updating. Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The other thing the safety committee did was reviewed Roger's presentation that he's going to be making for the 911 distribution operators. So that's come together quite well. He's still only got 3 counties that have contact information. He'd like to have more than that, but that's up to you guys. Where is Roger tonight?
His
His
son has
son?
a concert.
That time of year?
Yes. We have his esteemed colleague in attendance.
Yes, you do.
Governor's Council, Pat, as long as you've got the mic in front of you.
Well, it was a very slimly attended meeting.
Sorry about that.
It is what it is, right?
You know,
The biggest thing, I guess, that we discussed was Safety Week. The RTP funds being held up by the state. or by the feds, excuse me, not state. Um, And that Fish and Wildlife had done a training session with Roger for tour guides, and usually they have several tour guides involved, but there was only one person attended this year, so don't know what that means.
A lot of tours.
DMV reported 13,253 snowmobiles registered as of December 1st, compared to 14,400 last year. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Is that number off almost about the same as the TMAs?
No, it's much closer.
Closer. Yeah.
Especially at that time, when we had this meeting on the 7th of December, TMAs were at 6,900 versus 94 last year. But I think we closed that gap last week, didn't we, Cindy?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pat. Anything else that anyone would like to bring up?
I just had a question, Jeff, about the, was there a director's ride or something on the Memorial Valley Rail Trail this year? Did I hear something about that?
A director's ride?
Yeah. What was that?
No, we were talking about taking Kenny for a ride
Oh, okay.
on the rail trail.
Snowmobile, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the snowmobile. I actually just spoke to Kenny last week and he's very excited about it. There's been no date set or anything. This was Mark Reeves' idea. It's a great idea. Kenny's all for it. And Kenny will also be, and I've talked to Pat knows this too, will be returning to Governor's Council since we're doing hybrids. So we're doing an in-person and a virtual. So he's going to come to the office and get back involved with Governor's Council, and he very much misses Vast. And he's had a very hard year.
Yes.
Couple of years actually, not because of leaving Vast, but because of family, losing family and stuff. And so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, I gotta finish Walcott to Hardwick first.
Yes.
Oh, just go fast enough. I'm sure you can make it. I mean.
We don't have to.
Duke's a hazard. So before we adjourn tonight, I'd like everyone here to stay, and we need to have a little discussion about something that's going on, more informational than anything. And I would like to have the directors and alternate directors that are on Zoom stay. But I would like the live feed to end once we adjourn. So if there's nothing else.
One quick question before we turn.
Go ahead,
On
Mike.
the, it was in the, you remember where I read the paper or any other one, on the conservation easement that was funded and everything, I think you went in some of Washington County and stuff, with
That's in
400
that. acres. It didn't affect us.
Didn't any of it?
No, I
tried to find a map somewhere where it showed, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
I talked to Cindy about that and she said it didn't affect us.
Yeah, our lobbyist, Frank Stanley and Matt and Ken had been staying on top of that.
The one up in the,
Hancock, the one
oh,
down there.
down there.
That's a big one.
Does this need to be executive session?
It's not going to be executive
Okay.
session. It's going to be just a discussion among staff and board members.
Closed session.
Hey, Jeff, who takes care of the, updating the webpage on the internet?
Beth.
Because there is some stuff on there. I think I wrote it down, but I left it home. I think if you click on the news section or some of the other tabs, there's stuff that goes back several years that isn't pertinent and probably should be taken off. Because if somebody new goes on there and looks at it, they're gonna say, well, there's nothing up to date. I don't care what happened 5-6 years
Right.
ago.
Yeah. We need to. It'd be nice to have somebody that would, you know, stay on top of that and keep it up. I mean, Beth has got her plate overflowing already. So it's tough to, do that, but,
Well,
maybe
we're,
we could-
we're
Go ahead.
transitioning that to Mandy.
Okay.
And it's just taken her a little bit of time to get up to speed, but mostly that fell through because Cindy left and then Katie Ann was here for a little while, but you're right. I even had Peggy reviewing some of it a couple of years ago when Peggy was here. So now that Mandy's here and she's been here for a year and she understands how we operate and everything, that is going to be her role. She's also taking over the social media stuff. So, and the website updates. She's been learning about how to update the website. She knows about how to do some of it already.
Right. All right, anything else before we adjourn, but kind of stick around?
Yes, this is motion good, man.
Motion to adjourn Addison County.
Orange will second.
Orange will second, thank you.
She's been trying to get in there.
We are adjourned.
Hang on, I've got to stop the live feed.
Yep,
I got to figure out how to do it. Beth, I'm making you host again. I can't figure out how to stop it.
Okay.
It's not letting me
Are there
make
any
you
cookies
host.
left over there? We'll eat them all.
There's more cookie in there.
That delta, I'm gonna do.
Wait, so you want-
1,800.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Mark, can you check? You might be host. I can't seem to make Beth host.
I made you hope.
I know, but I can't do it.
1,800 less than TNA.
It's not giving me permission to do anything.
It's not that far.
Beth is Vermont is a vast live stream.
Yes.
Should be host now.
Yep.